and welcome to the AstroEnergyAstrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Hi, this is Shelley. If you would like to learn more about astrology, check out Learn Astrology, an ebook digital download online at angeliczodiac.com. Let's see if I can get you a little bit better. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Hey, and welcome. Hi, it's Shelley, and welcome to the June 24th, 2021 edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast. I am here with a little bit of laryngitis this week, but we're going to work through it because we can. Anyway, welcome. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Central Florida, and just a little bit about me. I have studied astrology for 42 years, and I know that seems like a long time, and it is, but it's been a passion of mine since I first discovered astrology. And many, many years ago, I decided to do professional readings in the 1980s. And so I've been doing professional readings for quite a while. As I have gone along, I have created a podcast, which you're listening to now. And that happened about 2010. So we're going into the 12th year, which we started, I think, 3 weeks ago, the 12th year of the podcast. And I want to welcome you. I used to be on Blog Talk Radio, but now I am on SoundCloud. I have a lot more control in that format on SoundCloud. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know who I am. I apologize for the voice. Need to rest it, but I do a lot of talking, so that doesn't always happen. Anyway, I just want to get right into what's been going on. I was told this morning that in Miami we had a building collapse, and I haven't actually looked at the news article. Let me see if I can get it to open up in a new tab here. So it says that one person was killed and 10 people reportedly were injured, and more than 80 fire and rescue units attend a partial collapse. So what does that mean? That is a quintessential moment of Capricorn, full moon in Capricorn. I probably last week generally mentioned the Capricorn full moon, but it is the end of a cycle of structures, of systems, of authority and hierarchy, and on some level, a certain amount of stability. So, that can translate also into moving house, which is very much in my world. I am going to be moving in the next week, and then my daughter is also moving into her dorm this weekend. So, actually tomorrow. So on Friday, and we are focused on the home energy, but also on the structure and stability. And that's what full moon is about in a lot of sense. The full moon is about the home and the end or culmination of a story. And hold on, I'm going to just clear my throat. I apologize. And and so we've got the structures and the system very clearly in the physical, tangible world decaying, and the decay is real. Your bones and the teeth, anything in the physical body is subject to issues right now. And because it's the end of a sign, it can mean that we see a transition with the elderly, or, like I said, transition of a home and the home environment. So yeah, if you are into doing like a ritual, this is a really great time to indicate what you would want for your ideal living situation, or even any kind of structural system that you're going to be doing in the near future. We've got a few days, but Neptune goes retrograde on Sunday. Excuse me, I take it back, tomorrow at 3:21 p.m. Eastern and 12:21 Pacific. So we've got the full moon in Capricorn and Neptune at 23 degrees. The full moon happens this afternoon, I believe. Let me just look here real quick. 2:40 p.m. So let me just adjust my clock here to 2:40 and see what we get. Yeah, so it's 3 degrees. 3 degrees of Cancer, 3 degrees of Capricorn. And ergo, probably tomorrow evening is going to be the sextile between the moon and Neptune, the sun and Neptune, and the trine between the moon and Neptune. So let me just look at that. I'll give you that. So the moon sextiles Neptune at 10:51 p.m. on Friday. And, excuse me. Okay, anyway, we've got, I'm just going to list it for you. So Neptune retrograde 3:21 p.m. Friday. The full moon, like I said, today is 2:40 p.m. on Thursday on the 24th. And then we've got Venus entering Leo at 9:27 p.m. Eastern on the 26th, 12:27 a.m. Pacific. Oh, let me get that right. 12:27 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. Pacific on Saturday, and 12:27 a.m. Eastern on the 27th. So that's Venus in Leo. And so Venus in Leo is going to be kind of an expanding energy of Leo. And Leo is, boy, we've got some issues here today, don't we? Hair in my face. Okay, so I kind of wanted to start out talking about Venus, because right now Venus, and I'll show you this chart right here, Venus is at 27 degrees Cancer, and she's at the bitter end of that time in Cancer, which means she's wrapping up that time. So of course the opposition with, I'm just posting the 2:41 p.m. Just double checking because I'm, retentive that way. 2:40 p.m. New moon or full moon at 3 degrees Cancer. I'll just use that for the whole video, so it'll make it easier to just discuss this chart and what's going on. So we've got the 3 degrees coming in of the sun, but Venus at late degrees Cancer means she has gone through all of the machinations of Cancer over the last few weeks, and now she's kind of finishing up that story. Cancer is the sign of the moon. So as the moon goes through the signs, and this is true this time of year, the sun is now in Cancer, or let me see, yeah, it just went into Cancer. And so the sun and Venus were there. Mars was just there. Mars is only at 8 degrees Leo. So he was feeling the energy of the moon as well. But now we've got the sun and we've got Venus, and that focuses the energy on the ego and feminine energy, women, mothers, sisters. And so we're going to really continue to see this energy of quick moving ideas and quick moving emotions as the sun is now in Cancer. Mercury doesn't go into Cancer. Let me see if I even wrote that down. It's in Gemini until the 11th of July. And so on July 11th, Mercury goes into Cancer, and then we'll feel it. That's going to be an interesting thing. I'll touch on that here for a second. So Mercury going into Cancer is the energy of home and family, but because Mercury is so quick mentally, now it's tamped down when it goes into Cancer, into that really murky water murky emotional life, which, for Mercury is not a pleasant place to be. And so we're going to see some of that energy come out with a lot more radical shifts emotionally with Mercury come the 11th of July. And so, with Venus at late degrees, so feminine energy, sisters, and it can be mothers, it is indicative of our desire and our desires in a day-to-day, moving through the energies. So in other words, Venus rules where we kind of get the intuition. Feminine intuition is very much Venus energy. And Venus brings in our desire, which in a spiritual sense is associated with the intuition or impulsivity of energy. And so when we think of feminine intuition, we are like, as a woman, you get the understanding, you're keyed into, and I was listening to a podcast. I'm sorry to interrupt myself, but this podcast this morning was about elitism in the art world. And it was two women discussing this idea. And there is the idea that women have kind of been shut out of the art world somewhat for like 100 years, since it really, like the turn of the 1900s, really kind of became more of a man's world in art, and the attention was put on men. And so women are really, they are more docile in a lot of ways, and that's not a blanket statement for every woman out there. But listening to these women talk, and my personal experience with my life and my daughter, and how women talk when they're around men, I've noticed this recently, is we will not come straight out necessarily. Some women have fiery Mercury, so they're going to just be very blunt and say what they mean. But generally, a receptive energy of femininity, which Venus represents, isn't looked on as very pleasant when we just bluntly state what we mean. So I find in my world, and the way we speak, and this is probably why men don't understand women, just in my observation, as women intuit situations, they read emotions, and when they point blank discuss what they see, it's seen as harsh. And so women, I've noticed, talk around the subject, kind of like I'm doing now, but instead of saying, just as an example, clean up your room to your kid, and then you get the immediate response of resistance. You might say, would you clean up your room? Or can you clean up your room now? You give that option, which doesn't really necessarily get it done. So as it escalates, it goes more towards, I told you to do this, and maybe the child did or didn't understand that you were wanting it more immediately. And so you try and find ways of communicating that aren't necessarily blunt or forthright. And I think that that's going to be an issue when Mercury enters the sign of Cancer. But, anytime we have these water signs that have planets in them, we're going to get that feminine energy and that receptivity. So we are less likely to be aggressive and call people out, which I think is an issue in society. I think that women can more easily be trodden on by harsher masculine energy. And I think now with the direction of the planetary aspects, that women are coming more into their own voices right now, ironically, not I, at least in this instance. So we're seeing that growth of women who are saying, no, I have personal authority in my life, and if I have to change how I present myself, I'm going to do that to be taken more seriously. And we don't necessarily need to be masculine in how we behave, but we need to have boundaries. And that's what Neptune is really showing us. Neptune is at 23 Pisces, again, a water sign. He rules the water, and I think it should be Queen Trident or whatever. Should be Ursula, should be the queen of the sign of Neptune, because it is a water and oceans energy and the ruler of the oceans, but it is feminine receptive, and it is Venusian energy on steroids. So we really are we're intuitive anyway, and if you key into feminine energy or emotional energy or water energy of the zodiac, we're going to really be bogged down on some level by how much water there is. I've been living here in Central Florida with, right now it's at about 10 days of overcast skies, and every day it rains. And I've looked at the forecast this morning, and it's going to be another 10 days according to the weather. I don't know if you can see it. It's rain. So, that's really difficult if you're an intuitive or an empath, because water is a conductor of the emotional side of things. It makes us much more keyed into that. And so currently with 2 planets in Cancer and Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, we don't have any in Scorpio. Knock wood, there's no wood around here, knock paper. So at least we have a little respite from the Scorpio energy now that the moon's out of Scorpio. And then, of course, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is in pragmatic Capricorn retrograde. So he is opposite the moon within a degree, or not moon, excuse me, Mercury, you're still having your way with me. Venus opposite Pluto. So that means a major shift in the desire and the value that we have. Both Venus and Pluto rule values. Venus rules the value of the individual. Pluto in Scorpio energy, or even just in and of itself, rules the value others place on you and what you see as your value through other people's eyes. So it's a really strong value challenge this week. And into the weekend, we've got so many shifts, and they all seem to be around feminine energy. The full moon, Venus changing signs, Neptune retrograde. So it's going to be a really watery, emotional time, because as long as there's such heavy transitory or transitionary energy in water, we're going to feel it. And so just know that that's there. Know that it can also express in how people treat you. It can express in the weather. And I was talking to one of my aunts in South Dakota this week, and she has a daughter who works at Panera. And one of the customers was so distraught that she threw the soup at my cousin. And it was still hot soup, and she threw it at her. Fortunately, my cousin was able to get out of the way, but she's 17 years old. I mean, that's just inexcusable. That kind of behavior, bad behavior should not be rewarded. And we need to really, in this energy, with especially Neptune about to go retrograde, Neptune retrograde is going to pull off some of the blinders. And of course, Jupiter's going back into Aquarius, out of Pisces. So that's going to happen, let me see, the 28th of July. So for the month of July, we have still this first 2 degrees of Pisces energy expanded, which we're going to revisit at the end of the year in December when Jupiter gets back there. But it's an initiation into where we are viscerally connected. And this Jupiter represents people of other cultures. And so I think that with Jupiter in Pisces for the month of July, we are much more aware of the connectedness to other cultures through our own emotional reactions. And then as Jupiter goes back in, and this is also a broader learning scale, wherever Jupiter is, it's about learning and expansion of spiritual awareness. So definitely in Pisces, Jupiter is kind of a spiritualist energy, and Pisces is the wise sage Buddha. So Jupiter combined, and then Neptune also, Neptune, Jupiter while they are considered commonly to be, Neptune anyway, and Pisces is considered to be very fantastical or whimsical, ethereal, not really grounded, because that's where emotion lies, that's where spirit lies, that's where we channel in the energy of other worlds, other energies. And so those people heavily influenced by Pisces or Neptune are going to very much be in the afterlife, the ethers, the dream world, and the daydreams. And it makes it more difficult to really get grounded and accept physical reality. And I want to be clear on this. There is no reality as one way. Physical reality is physical reality, material reality. But there is the ether reality, and there are so many infinite layers of reality. Each individual processes their own perception of energy through their ears and their smell and their eyesight and touch. Everything brings in another perception. There is no exact perception of reality, and I put that reality in quotes because reality is tangible, it's emotional, it's electrical, it's physical, but in the body, and it's watery, it's emotional, it's spiritual. There are just so many different layers to reality. So there is no, oh, wow, get a real job. Real means you're doing it and you're doing it for some type of compensation. That's a real job. For all of you artists out there, I'm very much in the artist mindset today. But so don't feel bad if you're picking up all this excess energy. We've got Neptune, Jupiter, Sun, Venus in water signs. So as Jupiter goes back into Aquarius, it's going to suck out some of that watery emotional energy. And as a person with an overabundance of water in her chart, I look forward to it. I know as it gets to the middle degrees, and like right now, Saturn is in Aquarius at 12, that puts it in an exact square to my moon in Scorpio. So it can be difficult. It is honestly right now very difficult emotionally to deal with the move in a home life. The normal home scenario is not necessarily presenting itself, and it can mean mothers pull back, nurturing can pull back. We're more pragmatic. We're more into letting other people take ownership of their situation, which is really good for independence. That's why we have this country founded under this energy of incoming Aquarius Pluto. Yes, it is still in Capricorn in the chart of America, but right after this country was founded, it went into Aquarius, and it was already picking up the hints of Aquarius as it was about to go in. So, yeah, the independent storyline is very strong. And Jupiter is a planet of independence. So going into Aquarius is just like, I want my independence. And we're going to be hearing that a lot more as time goes on. When Pluto 2 years from now goes into Aquarius, look out, because the value of independence gets so much stronger. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of surprised because as a liberal, you may know, I am that person for my podcasts. A liberal mindset just means that you're open to infinite possibilities, infinite understanding of what comes our way. So as an astrologer, you know all the different signs, and each one has their own personality traits, positive and negative. So you can't really be biased when you do that, because if you do it professionally, you have to understand that people are who they are, and they express through the energy they come into this world under and how they interact with the transiting planets and energies of the planets. So it's just an expanded mindset. When you go into Aquarius, it is alternate lifestyles, alternate points of view, really expansion of an understanding of the collective. It's humanitarian and environmental. So as Jupiter goes back into Aquarius and then Saturn moves direct, they start moving towards each other again. And that probably doesn't happen till later in this year, actually after October, around October. Saturn and Jupiter both go direct. So for like a week in the middle of October, Jupiter's retrograde, Saturn's direct, and they move towards each other. And then around that time, so it's like the 16th of October, Jupiter goes direct at 22 degrees, because, 22 degrees. And then we'll, of course, move on out back to Pisces. But Saturn is back all the way to 7 degrees or even earlier when he goes direct. So it's really an amazing time of reevaluating the Aquarian energy. And Saturn in Aquarius wants us to shore up our technology, our mindset, our mental health. He wants us to make sure we have the technology ready for what's coming, because I'm telling you, when Pluto gets to Aquarius, technology is going to take a whole new meaning, to where right now it's almost as if we have baby steps. We've got our little smartphones and our computers, but it's different, like it will be the modality. Technological cars. I mean, I'm already seeing it. We all already see it with the Teslas. You can call it up, and it may not even be just a Tesla. I posted a video of this car to a friend's Instagram. He basically called his car up to him. He was at the front of a hotel or whatever, and it came to him, and there was no one in it. I think it was a Mercedes. So, yeah, and it may not be Mercedes. It's probably a Tesla, but I think it looked like a Mercedes. And so we're going to see that much more integrated in our day-to-day lives. And, we have it already. I mean, the refrigerator in the other room can indicate when the door's open too long. It does everything. It judges how cool a bin is, how humid a bin is. You can set timers for it. You can honestly even look at the internet through your computer on your refrigerator if you want to. There are certain refrigerators that do that. Our cars have maps. I mean, we're just so technological, but we're not even anywhere near as technological as we will be for the decade of Pluto in Aquarius. So it is really a kickoff energy. Okay, let's get back to what's going on in the week. Mercury is in Gemini, so we're still having that Mercury energy associated with its own sign. And so it's communicative. Now it's direct. It went direct yesterday, I believe. And so he is trying to Saturn in Aquarius. And this means that we are finding those unusual solutions to problems. We are learning where the community lies that we're looking for. That can be a really positive energy coming in for this full moon, because the moon in Capricorn answers to Saturn, and Saturn in Aquarius wants to have unusual structures and systems. It's communal living. As much as people fight against socialism and communism, those energies, unions, they're all part of Aquarian energy. And it is going to be the immersion of society, with Pluto being the generational planet that it is. We are going to immerse in this understanding of our fellow man, but hopefully moving forward in ways that we have not heretofore, that we are going to find new ways of understanding other cultures and really work together. And I think global warming is part of that. We're seeing all these different energies that must be addressed. And excuse me, definitely the fixed signs, which Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, are going to really find those solutions, because they immerse themselves and they want to find an answer. And so the cardinal signs really seek out the new information, and the mutable signs are merging into the upcoming energy. So we really can work the qualities of all these signs in different parts. And I guess the reason I bring this up is because we have different ways of interacting with our environment as individuals and collective. And we have to start accepting that, because that's what Pluto and Aquarius is going to have us do. Saturn's had us there. Jupiter's going back into Aquarius. We are really trying to understand how we can work together as a collective. And so, yeah. Anyway, Mercury now direct means that we are finding the solutions to the problems that may have been technological over the past 3 weeks with the retrograde. And of course, before that, for a few weeks, we had the issue arise. And then the Mercury retrograde showed us that it needed an adjustment. And now it's direct saying, okay, we can finish off and culminate that solution and really have the answer, know that that is what we want and need out of this energy. It's also truths, Truths, not truth, Truth, truths. So we're going to find out what is real, what is accurate. And from now until the end of Mercury in Gemini, will be the 11th again of July. It is about truth telling. So it'll be a real interesting time because people are going to talk. Birdie's going to sing. And Mars builds to a square with Uranus on July 3rd, which is the next week. We're going to see all that energy. So Mars and Uranus. Mars drives. He is in Leo. He is driven for attention. He's driven to connect. He wants to connect. He wants to create. And he's very playful. So we've got this bubbly, positive energy that definitely Leo can be very optimistic. And if he's not optimistic, he can be very arrogant. But it doesn't mean that it's only arrogance or only optimism, but he has these different energies that he navigates. And it's an energy that's building in square to Uranus. And that happens again, like I said, the 3rd of July. So there is bravado. There is understanding of people. Really great sociologist is Leo. So Mars means we're learning how to be connected one-on-one, while Saturn is teaching us how to be connected as a collective. And they work together in synergy. And if they don't, then we have a lesson to learn. That's the imbalance, when it seems like someone's too arrogant, or, you know, where are you denying your validity? You know, maybe if you see someone who comes across as arrogant, you're feeling weak, or you're feeling unloved or incapable of expressing your fiery energy. So we're going to feel that Mars square to Uranus around the energy of money matters, desires, and retail, financial growth, technology, tech stocks in the financial market. I will say that now Mars is coming up on that square. It's probably going to peak at a challenge to the technology, because Mars isn't necessarily, or excuse me, Leo isn't necessarily a sign that does well with technology. He is the opposite to Aquarius. So his nature is to be more human-based, more humanistic, or connected. I mean, my father's a Leo. I always associate Leo with father or family, and it is the culmination and the materiality of the family being the Cancer sign. So you put Cancer on the first sign of the identity. The next one is the material expression of the family, and that's Leo. And so Leo really shows that fatherly energy, and the sun can do that. The sun can be very embracing of the connectedness to family. And then Uranus in Taurus is a little more difficult, because it means that there's an energy of withdrawal and detachment from the material world, or from the traditional way of looking at the material world and the value. So, gosh, I really want to get to a few things, but my voice is just not doing that well. Hang on. Let's see what we've got for early next week. So the moon enters Pisces, of course, on Monday. And then Tuesday, we've got a ton of Pisces and a sextile to Uranus. Monday is a conjunction to Jupiter in Pisces. So that's going to be real interesting. So there's, again, an approaching the Delta virus. I just posted something that the CDC had mentioned about the Delta virus variant, and it's been something that concerns me. I think that it's going to get more traction over the next few months with the moon and Jupiter joining up early Pisces and Jupiter retrograding. And then, of course, moon joins up with Neptune. So it's about watching the ideals, watching how you may be deluding yourself and where you idealize a situation. And I definitely think that with the Mercury retrograde in Pisces from January of last year, or early last year, I should say, right as the virus was starting to express out into society, the Pisces energy has been always since last year. You know, if you want to listen to the podcast, it'd be interesting for me to go back and listen to those. But that Mercury retrograde is fluids, body fluids, and expression of, you know, that issue. And so squaring Mercury with the, well, Neptune and Mercury will be squaring as Mercury gets closer to Neptune square on at 23 degrees. So that's probably about a week away. And that's also when Moon and Jupiter conjunct on Monday. So it's getting closer to that whole event. Next week is going to be very Jupiter Pisces influenced. So it means that we may not see things happen in a quick, timely manner because Neptune / Pisces / Jupiter are really digging in and being emotional, moody, and the water energy is expressed in environment, which means we could have house floods, we can have burst water pipes, we can have technology end up in the toilet, we can have floods and weather. I mean, I went out, I've gotten caught in the rain twice this week. So, you know, it delays things, and just know that that's part of the building energy towards next week. Yeah, and so the moon going through Capricorn for the next couple days into the weekend and changes signs Sunday into Aquarius. Sunday is going to be a little bit clearer-minded, whereas into the weekend it may be more structure-based, more systematic, more authoritarian and work career-oriented as we go through the weekend. Let's see, what is 4th of July? It is moon in Taurus. So traditional energy coming in for that, and of course groundedness. It's going to be interesting because we've got the moon in Taurus, and of course Uranus is in Taurus. So it is of the people. It is being aware of the collective and the collective mindset as we approach that time. And then right after that, we're going to have the moon in Gemini, and I definitely see some interesting energy building. I am probably going to be doing a Donald Trump analysis coming up in the month of July because there's just so much going on in his chart. I think towards the end of July, he's got a very serious aspect with Jupiter on his rising sign and descendant. So I'm going to address that. And I was going to do today, but it just didn't work out that way. Full moon, releasing old structures and old ideals, old perceptions and old dogma. That's really what you need to focus on. It is a focus around career versus home. How do the two integrate? And what are we going to do? What is the structure of home? Is it stable? Is it a solid foundation? And anyway, with that being said, I'm going to end this sad little laryngitis podcast. And I hope you enjoy the week. We'll talk to you again next week, and it'll be close to the 4th of July, but we're going to do it anyway. Hopefully my voice will be better by then, too. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Well, check out Angelic Zodiac on Instagram for up-to-date information on events, discounts, blogs and planetary transits at Angelic Zodiac 1 on Instagram. If you would like to see Shelley's art, ShelleyOverton.com, or for astrology art, go to astroart.net. Music provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Other music will be credited within the show. Advice given in the program is intended for entertainment purposes only. Join us here next week for more of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play, and where podcasts are accessed.